All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 667 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. My wife gave me a little bit of slack about the last episode, 666. She was like, I need to hurry up and do another episode. But you know how it is. I understand. But today, we're going to talk some Georgia Southern football. We're going to get our bearings back together. We're going to try to recover. Well, I think I fully recovered from the game this past Saturday and talk about bouncing back. We're going to go to Muncie, Indiana and play Ball State. This is not necessarily a preview, but it's more like a reflection, trying to just figure out what Georgia Southern needs to do. Later on this week, we will definitely do a pregame where we talk about Georgia Southern and Ball State. We're going to get into that a little bit later on in the week once we find out the injury report on all players. I'm not sure if Jalen White will be playing, because if he doesn't play, that could be somewhat of a difference maker, even though we do have O.J. Arnold, Terrence Gibbs, and a couple other guys who can get in there and do some things. So we'll get into that, but we're going to look at the team itself first, and we're going to just go from there. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I am also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to check out the podcast at your own leisure, there's a handful of sites that you can go to listen to the show. I'm also planning on expanding the show to other platforms. Just bear with me. I'm just waiting for the confirmation and the yay or nay if they say yes or no. And we're just going to go from there. I know I said this in a video. I probably said this in the last episode as well. Just a little bit inside baseball. When I said there's an opportunity, go for it. Don't ever let up on an opportunity. Follow your dreams and pursue your happiness. Just a little bit inside baseball. I did obtain another job from the job I was at now. Moving to Georgia. I took a job that I like, don't get me wrong, but, actually get implemented here. I think I said that right. Implemented here in learning, the landscape, living on the opposite side of Atlanta where I was before. I got comfortable and I found a job that I really, really like. And I'm so happy that I was able to get it. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I just took a leap of faith and they picked me, and that's pretty cool. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So hopefully, I'll be starting sooner rather than later. All the paperwork, everything is in the works. It just, they're just gonna get me with a start date, and I'm ready to go. But all right, let's just get into the show, and let's go ahead and get into this. Georgia Southern dropped to Wisconsin 35-14. I think it pretty much gave everybody who's been following this team this year, all the fans, all the alumni, a little bit of humility. I think we kind of humbled ourselves a little bit after beating the Citadel, after beating our I ain't gonna say our rival, but we got some get back against UAB. We were feeling really good, and even in the first half of the Wisconsin game, we were feeling really good. But we got humbled, and I think rightfully so. I think there's some times we need to sit back and understand, like, look, we are playing big boy football and we're playing in the big boy leagues, and this stuff is going to happen until you get everything on point, and to be honest, you may have two. Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. I mean, you're stretching it out. You may have two college teams now that has everything on point. I mean, you look at Alabama and Georgia. They're looking a little sus right now, you know what I mean? And Ohio State don't look good either. Michigan, whatever. So it is right now, until you get that type of consistency where you're just going to be beating up on everybody that you play against, you're going to get humbled sometimes. And I think that's what happened with Georgia Southern this past week. I mean, we had every bit of firepower to beat up against Wisconsin, and it showed. But we just got humbled. So what do we do now? Well, we're going up against Ball State. We beat Ball State last year. I think it was like 35-24. Excellent game that we played. Cal Vantries threw for a whole bunch of yards, and we ended up beating them. And now we're going to Ball State. And I think with this game here, I feel that we're going to be we're gonna be in a situation where we can feel comfortable playing some ball. But we gotta take care of what we need to take care of, and that's basically playing smart football. Now, I think for the past 3 weeks, we've been playing smart football for the most part. Davis Brand did kind of get away. It kind of got away from him a little bit, but if he settles back down to where he was when we played against UAB, I mean, I think we're going to be fine. I don't think that this Ball State team is good as UAB, and UAB kind of gave us a little bit of a fight. I think, they gave us a fight when we let the door open up a little bit for them to get a little bit of momentum. But I don't think that Ball State has the firepower to do the same. Now, don't get me wrong, they got some guys over there, and like I said, we'll talk about that later on in the week. But what Georgia Southern needs to do is give your defense a chance to get some rest. Because the defense tried their best. They tried their best to hold off Wisconsin as long as possible. Even with UAB, they did what they had to do at certain times to hold it down against UAB. But the defense has to get some rest. We need some good, long, sustainable drives, play some smart football when we have the ball in our possession, and just move the ball well enough to get touchdowns. I mean, field goals here and there is fine, but I think, every 1 in 4 times we go down there, we need to, 1 in 4 times it should be a field goal. The other 3 times need to be touchdowns. So 75% of the time we need to be scoring a touchdown. I mean, and I think that's a really good ratio for the Georgia Southern Eagles to be dominant against anybody. I know a lot of people are already saying that you look at the rest of the Sun Belt, we have a shot to beat anybody else for the rest of the season because conference play starts after Ball State. I tend to believe that, but this is a game that we need to start getting our things together. We need to start getting our things in motion. Let's start getting a little bit of a head of steam so we can be on point and be in a rhythm playing against the rest of the conference. And I think this is the team that we could do it against. Ball State do have a couple of players that are actually pretty decent. I mean, there's, I think Carson went to UCLA. Their running back, I can't remember his last name, but Carson went to UCLA, and they have the backup that's there, and he runs the ball almost just as good. So we just need I think our front seven does pretty good against the run. I think for anything, I think we that's one thing that we've been really good at, stopping the run. We haven't been giving up that much. We've been tackling very well, and I think this defense can be no different. I think they'll be able to do that. Like I said, the thing is, it's just the offense was a little bit in a slump after after halftime in the Wisconsin game. We need to get back on point where we can actually get in a rhythm. I think everything else will take care of itself. I mean, I don't think that the defense is going to fall off. I think they're going to be playing. I think they're going to be ready to play some pretty good ball. So I'm really excited about this, but I know at the same time these guys need to hunker down, and I hate to use that because that's a Bulldogs term, but they need to basically get in and take care of business. And I think they'll be ready. Coach Clay Helton has done a pretty good job at some bounce back games. For the most part. I mean, I know last year it was a little sketchy at some point. I think it was on a 3-game losing streak, but we found a way to beat Appalachian State. I don't think that we'll have that issue this year because we have more guys that are willing. I can say more guys that are willing, but more guys that Clay Helton like to have this type of performance where we can bounce back. I expect for us to really get the ball out. I think we'll be able to throw the ball pretty well once again. As long as Davis Brand can, really get the ball to the receivers. And I don't think he really has a problem with that. Like I said, I just think he just had a bad game. They just got away from him. As long as he can get those things under wrap, I think the rest of the team's gonna be fine. Now I really would like to see some smart passes, and I think I really want to see some smart passes and a little bit more of a dose of running. I want to see more run than pass in this go around. I think more like a 60-40 type of deal where we run more than pass. Just try to play a little bit. I'll say a little bit more conservative. Don't be as aggressive unless you really need to, because this team can play some air raid offense and it's very aggressive. I think if you can tone it back a little bit, just try to run the ball, get some short passes in, get the ball to Caleb Hood and Durham Burgess. You don't have to go over the top so quickly and so early. Let that come to you, and that's a recipe for success. I mean, you'll end up having Davis Brand at nearly 300 yards passing, and you have the running game up to maybe 120 to 150. I believe that that's the recipe to do it. I don't see there's a reason why you need to come out just swinging. You want to send a message, but you don't want to like overdo it. I understand doing that against a UAB or a Wisconsin, because those guys, they can throw the ball. They were capable of moving the ball and making things happen. Not saying Ball State can't do that, but I think Georgia Southern can really set the tempo to calm down this crowd at Ball State, really calm down the nerves of your own players, and put Ball State defense on notice. Like, look, you're going to have to grind it out with us just a little bit. As soon as they think they can grind it out, we beat them over the top with some passes, and that's how we'll be able to overcome and possibly beat this team by 2 touchdowns. I mean, ESPN got us at a 53 to 46 chance. That's nearly a push. That's damn near 50-50. So, I mean, what can you say? But I do feel like, Georgia Southern can get a 2 touchdown win in this game, if they just pay attention and do what they have to do. And this team is capable of doing that. No problem at all. So let me know what you guys think. I'll be doing a pregame of this later on in the week, talking about the quarterback for Ball State, talking about some other players for Ball State, and what they did against Indiana State, because I think that was a pretty significant win. Probably going to go back and watch that game as well, so I can give you more insight on that. So we'll just go from there once I get to that. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. This is bounce back time for Georgia Southern football. I believe it wholeheartedly, and I think they'll be able to do it. Let me know if you guys think they can do it as well. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Find me on X at VFBaller, and the podcast website is firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. I'll see y'all guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. All right, y'all. Peace.